Okay, now that we have our output completed, we can note that it comes out in two different files. One is called a Plaso output, which is a type of a body file or blob of data that can be ingested and further processed by a whole wide range of tools, like Cabana, for instance, which is an open source analysis tool. There's a number of tools that can be used to process a Plaso data file. We're going to be taking a look at the output that was created in a CSV file. So we can see here that we called it NTFS training underscore output. I'm just going to cut that and put it right on my desktop here. Opening it up in Excel, we can see here that we have a lot of information for a very small data set. Now, it should be noted that if you are applying the same technique to a very large data file, this CSV output may be unreadable by Excel because Excel has theoretical limits or actualized limits. And if a file is just simply too large, Excel will fail to process it. Or in a more dangerous version, Excel will only open a portion of the data and not be able to open the rest of it, which could be extremely detrimental to what you're trying to do. So in that instance, you may need to use additional tools or different tools to process CSV files. Maybe you could use Python approaches, or maybe you could just go ahead with that Plaso processing techniques. So in that case, you can use additional filtering and sorting. So just a word of caution. So in this case, this small CSV output file is sufficient to be able to be looked at in Excel. So what I'm going to do here to start off is I'm going to click in this top left corner here, and I'm going to double click the A just to properly sort out all of my columns to get myself in a nice, more comfortable position. Now that we have our sorting in place, what we're going to do, or our spacing in place, what we're going to do here is we're now going to go up to Data, and we're going to click Filter. Now, if you didn't see what just took place, watch this top row. It adds a drop-down. Enabling the filter gives you generic filtering capabilities. There's a whole lot of different things you can do with Excel. For the purposes of this, we're going to use our basic filtering options to be able to give us the ability to kind of sort through some of this information. Now, when you click down here, again, you're going to see a lot of information. But what we're going to focus on is this search bar. Say hypothetically you were given the task of having to try and figure out what is all of the timestamp information we can see here for the image file 6008.jpeg, img underscore 6008.jpeg. Well, you could sort through all of this information and see what comes out. It could take you a long time. Again, I'm looking to always, for myself, what is the most accurate but also the most efficient way to be able to do the job. Now, you could type in 6008, or you could type in img underscore 6008. I'd probably refrain from JPEG because that's a bit generic, and we can see here immediately that we have a lot of different views. So what we can see here is by typing in img 6008 underscore 6008, we can now see that we have a bit of a filter hit that's matched. Just know that Excel can be a little tricky at times. So maybe whatever file you're typing in, you need to kind of splice it a little bit and see what you can get to work. Maybe 6008 will get it. And in this case, we still have that single hit, so that's okay. But so just note that you might need to splice your file a little bit just to see if you can get that to work for you. Now, with this single hit, you can make sure it's checked. If you have multiple hits that seem to be relevant, you can always check them. It's not a permanent adjustment to your spreadsheet. You can always go back here to this filter and readjust to see what you get. 6008.jpeg. Once you have your selections made, go ahead and hit OK. Now from here, we can see that we have a lot of information here. In Plaso, log to timeline, the output gives us a lot of great information. We can see here that it has stripped out a lot of the metadata here. Now, this is modified, created. This is created as well, or content modification, the metadata. And this is the last access time. So we can see that where it gives us where exactly this came from. So if we were using the sleuth kit, specifically the istat command, we would see the same information, but log to timeline did this for us. Plaso did this for us. psteal specifically, which is the combination of log to timeline and psort, did this all for us, which was great. It's a tremendous, tremendous help. So if you wanted to take off your filter, maybe you want to see what happened on 517, or maybe between 10 and 132. We could always do that as well. You can always go back to your filter and click clear. If you want, you can also click clear here, and it kind of clears it out globally. What if we just want to see, show me everything that happened on maybe 5/11, 2019. You could even go here to this, unselect those, and then deselect July. Maybe just leave it at May. You could even tick this open, and if there are multiple days, you could do multiple days as well. So you get really, really granular with your search capabilities. Click OK. We can see that we have a little bit of information here. A standard attribution, a standard information attribute from an NTFS file system, shows a particular activity for an image file 6021.jpg. Okay, so you can see a lot of information here. Also, something to note right here. That right there, that's your MFT entry number. So if you were to go in the sleuth kit and navigate to, say you wanted more details about the particular file, you could just, that's your MFT entry number. So you could use istat, then the offset, then the file, you know, the NTFS training.001 or whatever you're working on, and then that's the MFT number right there. You don't even have to go searching any further. It does it for you as well. So it's telling you exactly where this timestamp came from. Super, super helpful, especially when you're dealing with real large volumes of data. This output can be extremely capable. Times, you can also do times as well. What happened between 10 and 11? Maybe you want to see all the activity that's reported between 10 and 11. You could also do 10 as well. 10, go on right there and just make it a little bit easier for yourself. Right there. So that's everything that has a 10-hour start. Hit OK. And then this is filtered so it only has entries within the 10-hour, regardless of the day. In this instance, it was all on the same activity. It's a small training set, but I think you get the idea here. Excel has a lot of capable sorting and filtering techniques if Excel is able to digest the size of file you're working with. Again, with large data sets, it's going to be more important that you stay a bit away from the kitchen sink model and move towards more the sharper, specific filter approach. In this training set, our data set is small. The file that you're going to be working with throughout this course, in any capacities in any weeks, is going to be small enough where the kitchen sink model is appropriate and very much capable of being processed in Excel. So this was a technique of looking at the output in Excel and taking a look at how we can use filtering to our advantage.